to minister and the community, Joseph and Viola, have you come here to enter into marriage without coercion, freely and wholeheartedly?
I have.
Joseph, are you resolved to take Viola to be your wife, to love her, comfort her, honour and protect her, and forsaking all others to be faithful to her, as long as you both shall live?
I am.
Viola, are you resolved to take Joseph to be your husband, to love him, comfort him, honour and protect him, and forsaking all others to be faithful to him, as long as you both shall live?
I am.
I do solemnly declare
I do solemnly declare
that I know not
that I know not
of any lawful impediment
of any lawful impediment
that I, Joseph Benjamin Heaton,
why I, Viola Katarzyna Żelkowska,
may not be joined in matrimony
may not join in matrimony
to Violetta Katarzyna Żelkowska.
to Joseph Benjamin Heaton,
I call upon these persons here present
to witness
that I, Joseph Benjamin Heaton,
that I, Violetta Katarzyna Żelkowska,
do take thee, Violetta Katarzyna Żelkowska, be my lawful wedded wife,
be my lawful wedded husband,
to have and to hold,
to have and to hold,
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish,
love and to cherish,
to death do us part.
till death do us part.
Obviously, some of you on the course with me will know the issues with brevity, and especially going on the ground brief. So I'd like to start by checking, do you have the time? Barwin might actually not. Then for the ground brief, we're going to do a quick history of Beverley from sort of the Anglo-Saxon period onwards, then see the books leave then. But on a serious note, thank you for coming, many of you from Poland and so far, and all you finding time in busy schedules to make our day so special. So I'd like to thank most of all is Viola's mother for bringing up such an amazing woman. I do not speak any Polish. I want to learn 300 words by the end of the year, but some words I do know, which I want to say to you, is dziękuję, thank you so much for such an amazing daughter. On other things, on my first date with Viola, she asked me about my job, what I do, and then I got into she asked me about the Russian situation. I said that China, if Russia expanded more, China might invade it because of Siberia. To make this point, I said Stalin wasn't just evil to send people to gulags, it was profitable. Viola thought I was then praising Stalin and almost ran away on the first date. Some of you at the back can attest that it's a common thing for me to politically offend a girl on the first date and her to walk away. I have drills for that, but it's usually in the opposite direction. So it was a completely new experience when I had to persuade you that I was not a communist Stalin supporter to come back as I sort of chased you down. But then later I spent some time with Viola, and I thought a big test in the relationship was making a gazebo for her, because I thought Polish men are very good builders, and to build a gazebo, I have to say I failed at this. I put it together and it went down in a storm, and I felt completely as a failure. And then I got inspiration for the wedding, because I tried to get this to redeem myself by at least taking it to a skip. All the skips in Birmingham were closed, but on the way to the skip there was a wedding party of Lamborghinis, this sort of like Andrew Tate style wedding. I tried to spend the budget on that, but they wouldn't take the deposit from me, unfortunately. I ended up in the middle of this sort of corsage of Rolls Royces and whatnot, and then I just thought in my head, I want to marry Viola. And I think the true test of that was to put up in the relationship when I had my head shaved out of idiocy by not being able to talk to the bar properly. But on a serious note, as well as thanking your mother, thank you so much. And you know, the only words that I use in Polish are the most true, which is kocham.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you that I don't know, I'm Charles, and I've had the pleasure of being Joseph's best man today. What a day! I'm sure of you that know Joseph, you'll be very surprised, like I am, that everything has gone quite so smoothly. In fact, I was the one that was 45 minutes late yesterday, but Joseph did ring me and said that he'd lost his shoes. So, Heaton parents, hopefully you're both feeling relieved. It's taken a while, but it feels like our Joseph has grown up. So with that in mind, the person we all owe the biggest thanks is you, Viola. Thank you. You look absolutely stunning today, and it's been really wonderful getting to know you too. As one of Joseph's longest standing friends and loyal friend to the family, I would like to say thank you for taking them off everybody's hands. So now you've signed a binding contract with him, I think it's only fair I give you a few insights regarding the small print and what a life with Joseph could look like. But before I do that, I will say a few nice things about my dear old friend. I've known Joseph for nearly all of my life. We met here in Beverley, in primary school, and grew up together in this little town. There's something uniquely special about friendship born in childhood. It creates a knowing of one another that can never really be replicated in the same way in adult friendships. And whilst we no longer walk to school together, have the same teachers, or indeed live in the same county, we'll always have a unique brotherly bond shaped by our common history and childhoods. So you see, as we grew up, we started to change. We went in different directions. I went left and Joseph went right. And yes, of course, I'm talking about politics, because how could politics not be included when discussing Joseph? Joseph became, I would say, obsessed with politics in our early teenage years. Stephen and I were recalling how in 2010, Joseph came to a house party at my house with David Cameron's Conservative Manifesto and was determined to make everybody read it. It didn't matter the social occasion he was at, Joseph was ever determined to sway people to the right. Politics featured during afternoon tea with my very, very left-wing grandma, who exclaimed, "Do you have a conscience?" over Victoria's sponge and cup of tea. "Are you from this century?" the girls would say at the drunken house parties. "And get out of my pub," the landlord of my dad's sleepy village pub said. Desire for the finer things in life started to emerge at about the same time. the cigars that you could never quite smoke, the Alfa Romeo that you couldn't quite drive, burning out many clutches, and the whiskies that didn't always stay down. Yes, Joseph's tastes were always quite excessive, as was his fashion sense. I remember a trip to my family's cottage in rural Wales, which is essentially a place you go just to be at one with nature. We were all there in our scruffs, and Joseph emerged out of the woods, tweed cap, tweed jacket, like something out of Brideshead Revisited. But this fine country chap couldn't quite hide his roots. Whilst we lefties were all eating lovingly homemade lentil pies and learning to cook deliciously left-wing vegetarian food, Joseph was trying to cook a Fray Bentos pie using a hob. Now, I'm not sure if you have Fray Bentos pies in Poland, but it's a horrible pie in a tin. Yes, despite your delusions of grandeur, when it comes to your appetite, you can't hide the true you. So that's the grilling done, and I think that was quite nice actually. If any of the family have any grave concerns, come and talk to me. So I hope Viola and her family know what they're letting themselves in for, but please know that having known Joseph for almost 30 years, he is one of the most sensitive, trustworthy, loyal and caring people that I know. To the bride and groom, Joseph and Viola. Joseph and Viola.
Well, those were both very, very enjoyable speeches. So as a contrast, I've got an ordeal for us all. Okay. Now it's going to be more of an ordeal for you than me, though. So I've got my companion book, and I've also got a script from my ghostwriter. So thank you, ghostwriter. So I've got to start here. Says by being saying, "Oh, I'm honoured to say a few words," which I am. Thank you so much. And it was such a wonderful day, such a wonderful wedding. We had a lovely time. I'm not going to read the rest, because in church, a thought occurred to me when I was thinking about wonderful wedding, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly, when they were married, the thought occurred, I've got a daughter. Oh my goodness, I'm not prepared to have a daughter. I know how to do sons. I don't know how to do daughters. So I'm so overjoyed to have a daughter, and I'm just so proud to welcome you into our family. Okay? And in terms of behaviour, be home by 9 o'clock. Okay. The next bit is an attempt in Polish. Bardzo się cieszymy, że nasza rodzina są jednoczona w tym szczęśliwym dniu. Now, next on the speech, I was going to say I'm going to speak about somebody that is very important at weddings, but never gets mentioned, and that's the priest. Now, unfortunately, he's stolen my thunder, because in the homily, he said that Joseph had been baptized and he'd been First Communion and confirmed in the church. What he didn't say was that he himself had performed all those ceremonies, and I believe this is a first for Father William as well. So thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. You ready? Ojciec William ochrzcił, bierzmował I poślubił Józefa. Okay, understood?
Yes. Yes. Well done.
Yeah, not necessary to applaud every time. Now, I should say that we are lucky that that Father William baptized Joseph, because the priest at the time was Father Cox, and Helen had phoned Father Cox to explain that we wanted a baptism, and he'd asked why, what is your motivation? And after explaining to him her thoughts, he said, well, it sounds to me like you want all the advantages of being a Catholic, but none of the commitment. And Helen's reply was, yes, now we understand each other. Yes, great, yes. But in fact, so he said no at that point, and instead he turned to his colleague, Father William, and said, Father, we have an interesting family here. Curate at the time. Would you like to go and meet this family and have a talk and just get to the bottom of this? And of course, Father William came to our house, he discussed with Helen, and he persuaded Father Cox that perhaps it was okay to baptise Joseph. So again, we have Father William to thank for Joseph's faith as well. So, So, this is what I'm going to say. Okay, jeszcze ma do mnie osiągnięć Józefa w wojsku. I jeszcze ma do mnie sukcesów, jaki Viola osiągnęła w Wielkiej Brytanii. So we're very proud of Joseph's achievements in the army and also of Viola being able to make a life in the UK. Nie mogę się doczekać, aby ich odwiedzić, ponieważ obaj są świetnymi kucharzami. So I'm just saying that I'm very happy to visit them because they're both great cooks. In fact, Viola cooked for me a mushroom risotto, the best risotto I've ever had. And then she taught me how to do it. But Viola's quite a capable young lady. Not only has she made a life here, but she's become a procurement manager, an expert. And we saw some of these skills when she negotiated for the car that they've just bought. Initially there was a problem, things weren't fixed and they came to collect it, it wasn't ready and so on. But she had some very stern words, and the part that was missing they couldn't get for another week suddenly materialized. The car was ready, and given that her former job was purchasing chickens, I like to think that the car arrived fully plucked and without any feathers as well. So, Witamy Viola do naszej rodziny jako nasza córka. I witamy jej rodzinę do naszej. So I've just said my umbrella is I've just said we welcome Viola to our family as our daughter and welcome her to ours. Okay. Welcome her family to ours. Next section is about Chinese New Year. So this is the year of the dragon, and it's a very lucky year. So we feel that it is going to be a very lucky year for you, and it's already a very lucky year for Joseph to be marrying such a wonderful bride. Okay. And we're also blessed today to have both of Joseph's grandmothers with us. So my mum Elisa and Kathleen are both here today. So we have both mothers and grandmothers. So when I was married, my father ended his wedding speech with a toast to mothers and grandmothers, and I'd like to do the same. So get back here, in a sec, I have to do this first. To ask za matki a babcie.
Mamy babcia.
Okay, mothers and grandmothers.
Mamy babcia.
Okay, thank you.